Alrighty, I am going to show you guys how to do contracts for listing. This is Lisa Benoit with Lucky Money Real Estate. Let me share my screen. And the platform that we typically use is going to be .loop. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And I'm going to add a new loop. And I'm going to use this address. House Court. My listing, and I'm going to go down here. I want to be the listing representative representing the seller. And I don't have a photo for it right now. I'm just going to go ahead and create my loop. So as I'm waiting, I'm going to do one long video, and what I will do is I will section off the timers so that way you can click on the documents as needed. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add people. So I'm going to add my seller, and it's not the real seller, but this is my mock seller, and this will allow for me to send off documents for signing. So when I have the seller's information, I'm just going to try to fill out as much information as possible. And it just hijacked it. That's the bad thing about autofill. When you're trying to train, it tries to hijack everything. I'm set as a buyer, and I'm going to do 20. There you go. Add in a phone number. I'm just going to copy that and I'm going to paste it down here. So I'm going to add in all the information for my seller. I'm going to set myself as a listing agent. I'm going to set my brokerage as the listing brokerage. So that's very, very important. And then everything else, I'm just going to leave the same. So then I'm going to start off with my first set of documents. And I'm going to start with my information about brokerage services. I'm going to click on that. And I'm just going to go and click autofill, continue, and the information should auto-populate. The initials of your seller should appear at the bottom. When you're done, save, back out. Alrighty, and this is the listing agreement. I'm going to go in again, add in all my information, and we've agreed to do this listing until the end of the year. The listing date, I'm not going to pick today's date. I'm going to pick next Wednesday's date because I'm taking the listing today. I'm going to need time to schedule pictures, put it on the matrix, get them to do seller's disclosure. And I typically like to do Wednesdays since most people have already done their shopping at the beginning of the week and they're just trying to debate whether or not they're going to put in offers. And usually if they don't put any offers, there's a schedule on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So if you put it up on Wednesday, you're going to get the best crowd. And I'm going to list this for, I'm just going to list this for $525,000. You should know how to run your comps by now. But if you haven't, then you need to go back and practice that. So I'm just going to list this for $525,000. And the property is going to exclude the gym and the garage. The generac system in this house is not completely installed to the house. It's actually a non-realty item addendum. It is plugged in, but I'm going to go ahead and put that in there just in case. All TVs and mounts will be removed. The mounts actually are a part of the property, but the TVs are not. But we're just going to go ahead and say they're going to take out the mounts, and then that's it for this particular property. And then for the lot and block. So typically when I'm doing this, and if I don't have all the information, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up HAR. And I just realized I'm on multiple screens, so I've done recordings before where nothing shows up. So I'm going to sign in. I'm going to do my realtor. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to split my screen so I can see what I am doing. I'm going to move your dot loop over here, read later, and I'm just going to type in the beginning. All right, so I'm just going to find one of the old listings. I'm going to use this listing. It was sold. And I'm going to get, I don't always trust the real estate agent, so I'm actually going to click on tax account right here. And it is a lot number 12 and a block number 2, and then everything else is what's going into additions. I'll copy that and we'll paste it there. And I'm going to autofill. So if you do this properly, it should autofill all the information that you put in earlier. The legal description should be there. And you've got all your exclusions. The property is in an HOA. I'm going to start off at 525,000 listing. That is my commission. If you're going to do a buy sell, sometimes you can negotiate. And I got my protection period for 90, and then there's no other reimbursable items. And I'm gonna put that within the next 5 days after the listing date. They're gonna allow me to put it on the MLS. I'm gonna use Show Me Smart. I am allowed to put a key box on there, and here is my MLS commission to the other parties, intermediary status. The house can be a conventional VA, FHA, or a cash loan. Owner is not financing, it's not USDA. And these items, there's no extra items aside from the current mortgages. So I'm going to leave that there. There's no relocation company. And there is a MUD. And they are aware that there's a MUD. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And then we scroll down. I am going to give them the seller's disclosure, the supplemental, and those items. I'm also going to give them the MUD to sign and the T affidavit. They do have a survey. Maybe not. So I'm going to leave that out. I'm going to go ahead and put my information about flood hazard in there. There's no tenant, so there you have it. And then right here is very important. A lot of people miss that. The clients are not a foreign person. And if it is, they're subject to FERPTA taxes. That's a whole nother story on its own. I am done. And then I'm going to click on here. And then if what I typically do is I'm going to go ahead and get all your signature docs done. So these are the items right here. And then the sign and fill are down here. So I'm just going to go straight down and I'm going to fill these documents in. So right here, the next item is the notice of purchaser. That is the MUD. And I'm going to click on autofill. It does not have all my information. So in order to get the MUD, you're going to go in here. You're going to click there. You're going to end up this area right here, taxes. Click there. You're going to go down here. There is a MUD. You're going to click on that M94, and it's going to see Montgomery MUD 94. And I'm going to paste it. I'm sure it's going to be too large. So I'm going to shrink it down as much as I can and then repaste it again. Let's see if I can make it any bigger. There you go. And then right here, it says 077. Let's double check. Yep, 0.77. Wait, so 0.77. It is doing something funky. My tax was not on. I can't remember, was it 0.077? Okay, 0.77. 0.77. The larger number always goes first. That's going to be the 68 million. I'm so happy that they finally make these plots bigger, and the next one's 41.8. It's always going to be a smaller one. So I was actually showing somebody this yesterday, and he goes, put NA, and I was like, yeah. And then I realized NA means not applicable, but really it's not applicable. It's just unknown right here. So your standby fee, you don't have that extra information, and we are partially in a MIC district right here. And if you click the second one, then it's going to be here in the city of Spring. And then you're going to go back, and I'm going to copy the legal description here. And I just have a habit of just getting it right out of tax records. I just never really trust the listing. So I'm going to click right here, paste it, Caitlin's name appears. Down here, it's going to be last year's taxes. And there you have it. It is a completed MUD. One of the hardest forms for most people to just understand. General offer instructions. I'm going to go ahead and provide general offer instructions. I'm going to click on autofill. And this information is kind of big, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller and smaller. There you go. I just like it to look pretty. That basically is just the address for the office. And I am my own supervisor. And I am on a team. Y'all are not. And then you just make sure your information for your brokerage is filled out. And then if you want to suggest title companies, you can. I'm going to go ahead and suggest two. Let me real quick. So this house is close enough to the woodlands, so it can close in the woodlands. I'll use Southern Title one, and it's going to be, and these are recommendations. If the buyer wants to have their own, that's fine also. Whew, these spaces are tight. So we're just going to shrink it up a little bit. And I'm just going to make it. So it's like teeny tiny. So I gotta go back and revisit these sizes. But it still fits. So I'm gonna put 45, 26 research, forest, and then we can leave that there. Okay, and then I'm gonna use the next one that I found. I'm gonna use Old Republic title. Put Old Republic. Claima, and then Republic. Okay. And you want to make sure this information is like completely filled out. But it seems like I'm having trouble. Maybe it's a good thing. We're doing this. It's 13:30. So I don't have their phone number handy, but that's a good start for them to fill out the contact. I'm going to hit save. Your residential checklist. This is just information for y'all to have, just to know what you got to do next and what kind of forms you have to have. But this is a lot of information. Hey, by the way, you need all this information. Did you do all these items? General information and notice to buyers and sellers. Very easy. Just make sure you read it through at least once or twice. I'm going to go ahead and sign here. I don't sign the listing agreement just in case my clients want to change a number. wire fraud information, you definitely want to send them this just so they know there's a lot of fraud going on. I'm going to go ahead and sign because buyers beware, don't provide your information over the phone and whatnot. Seller's authorization and release. So say if this family is like, there's been a death in the family, or they're going through a divorce, or they're just moving or relocation. If they allow you to add the information and it's kind of really personal, you can add it on here, but just make sure you get authorization. So you don't want to be selling a house for a divorce client or for somebody that passed away or somebody that had cancer or someone was sick or whatever. You had a crazy person in the house. You don't want to advertise it out there if you have not been authorized to say such items. And there are certain terms, like right here, seller is negotiable, bring all offers, seller is motivated. If you want to use those terms, you want to go ahead and get permission to use those terms. Alrighty. So I am right now, they're not aware if it's in the district, so I'm going to go ahead and archive that document. I'm also going to archive the authorization or release or just telling it to move. Protecting your home from mold. Ever since the storms have been happening, I have added this in. It's a good thing for you to go ahead and send it to them. They can protect it from mold while you're listing or while in the purchase process. But I'm going to go ahead and assign the field. Okay, and I want to say that and just have her kind of initial just in case anything comes up. The single data input sheet, you don't have to do anything with really. It's just information for you. If you've never been in the property or you when you go to take the listing and you need to know what you need to ask the clients, hey, do you have questions? I mean, do you know what type of roof it is? Can you answer these questions for me? This is going to help save some time for inputting it into the MLS. So you can give it to your clients to fill out, or I would highly recommend for you to do it with your clients. I'm not going to email that to them to fill out. I typically will ask them to I'll sit down with them or I'll ask them those questions. So here are my showing instructions. Must be, I'm gonna just, must be confirmed. I rarely ever do go in shows anymore. It is very not good for your property. If it's vacant, vacant stage, occupied, whatnot, just go ahead and fill out this information and then you're gonna send it to Showing Smart and then they're going to um, put that into the instructions so when people call, they'll have that information. So that's typically it. I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to set these up to send. I'm not going to send this document. I'm just going to let them know how I set the scheduling, and I'm not going to send them the checklist. I really don't need them to see the general offer instructions. So really, I just need them to sign this. So I'm going to go ahead and share it. And I'm going to go ahead and do it as a can sign only. And if you are a new agent, you want to go ahead and check this and share it with your coach or mentor before you go ahead and get that signed because you might have made a couple of mistakes. But I'm going to go ahead and send it to my client. I'm going to send it as can sign. And I'm done. So while I'm waiting, I'm going to set these documents up, but I'm not going to send it until my clients have signed all those other documents. So I'm just going to open these up. And this is a seller's disclosure right here. And I'm just going to do an autofill. And it should only populate the address. Everything else should be completed by your sellers. Don't make the mistake of trying to fill this out for your sellers. Because I can tell you, the minute you do one, and it just so happens that one item becomes a lawsuit item, then you can be liable for a lot of things. So don't try to answer these questions. And if they don't know the answer, suggest the unknown. All right. I'm going to hit save. Yes, I'm going to save. And then sometimes if it freezes like this, all you got to do is click at the top hit the enter button. It will reload. And then I'm just going to open it and make sure the address populated. Yes, it did. I'm going to go back out. And then I'm going to go back and I am going to start with the supplemental seller's disclosure. This is just for items that you want to make sure, just additional disclosure, a little more detailed than the seller's disclosure, just to protect the brokerage side. Because a lot of people have been getting sued over mold and over flooding, over water, over whatever it is. And so we're going to just ask for an extra layer of protection. So I'm going to hit save again. And exclusions list. The exclusions list is really, really important because remember we had those other exclusions. We're going to go in here and we're going to put TV walnut. I'm going to put TV, even though it was in the listing, we're going to now add it to exclusions. And then we're going to click on other items and we're going to put outdoor gym. No, garage and also generator. Okay. And so those are all exclusions. This basically says I am not leaving this here. I'm going to save that in there. And then if the clients want to add anything else, they can sure enough click, check, or whatever. But because they already told us in the original listing, I want to go ahead and make sure that's added on there properly. Alrighty, so I am now waiting for the client to sign all these documents. And once they're done signing, then you'll take this and then you're going to send it as a can fill and sign. So let me see if we can check these. We're going to click on it. We're going to refresh. Oh, and there it is. It is all signed. So the first thing you want to do once everything is signed is you actually want to go in and sign where you're supposed to. So this listing agreement, I haven't signed it yet, but because they signed it, I can now sign it. So I'm gonna go ahead and adopt and sign. I just want to make sure that their signature is there now. And now you have, you basically now have your listing. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign, 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 sign. And fine. So I'm going to save it. And now that it's signed, I'm going to go ahead and have your clients sign all these documents. I'm going to share that. And I'm going to do, I'm going to click on them and I'm going to do can fill and sign. Okay. So now they actually have to open up those items and they have to fill it out and sign everything. So for training purposes, I'm not going to go in and check all the information. I'm just going to say that these documents are already signed. Okay, because it's going to take a year and a day for Caitlin to go in here and knock this out. But as a real estate agent, once you open these up, you want to make sure they've signed and also they've answered all the questions. Yes, no, maybe, unknown. It's me. And then say they've all signed, then what you're going to do is you're going to take those documents. You're never going to upload your offer instructions, but you're going to upload, if they have a survey, you're going to put your mud in here. You're going to click this item, protecting your home from mud. You can even do wire fraud information, general notice, those things. You can go ahead and you can download them. And then once they're downloaded, you want to go into your forms, and I always want y'all to rename them. Okay, so a lot of agents, they'll do it in separate docs. I like to go ahead and do it in one doc because that's actually how I like to receive it in one set, so that way I can just push it all up online. So that is how you are going to submit your doc. So the next set of the next video I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to add the listing to your MLS.